So I'm going to talk today about breast weight, and I guess if I tell you how I've ended up getting into breast weight, that might be a good starting point, yeah. And stop me at any stage, and I will go on all day. So really, do stop
and,
me.
I've not introduced you either, so you'll have to introduce yourself. Sorry.
Okay,
Is that okay?
I'll do that. Yeah.
Great.
So I'm a musculoskeletal physio. My background would always have been in terms of activity. I was a PE teacher before I retrained into the therapy side, and basically would have done a lot of work on prevention, and that's always been my bag. I've always been very keen on trying to prevent people from having problems, so that when they would come to me for treatment, I would very much look into okay, why has this happened, and let's make sure it doesn't, or let's do our best to try and make sure it doesn't happen again. And over the last, I guess, I had a clinic in Lancashire, and over the period of time that I was in Lancashire, I would read in the Sunday Times magazines about a store in London called Rigby and Peller, where they did bra fitting, and I thought, oh, that's really interesting, and I've never had that done, and here I am at the time in my 30s and never had that done, and then in my 40s ended up in London for the proms, and decided I've got a couple of hours to kill. My mother-in-law was with me, so we went into Rigby and Peller and had a bra fitting, and it was absolutely a life changer for me. I mean, I've heard so many people say that to me now, but it completely and utterly, well, it's changed my life because of what I'm doing now professionally. But I walked out the door of that store taller, more confident, not particularly lacking in confidence in the first place, but just felt that I almost had this aura of, okay, world, I'm ready for you. I can do anything I want to be able to do here. And it just hit me like right between the breasts, actually, right between my eyes, that this was something that was massively important for patients. And I would have spent a lot of my life, I mean, I would have been quite a manual therapist, but exercise would have been also a huge thing. So reasonable combination of manual therapy and exercise and advice. But I would have done a lot of taping of people. So like helping somebody to come up into thoracic extension, into that kind of nice tall position where we're getting things in line, because we know we function better there. And we know our pelvic floor functions better when we have that kind of bit more of a stacking situation, as opposed to letting ourselves go into this slump. And it's okay to slump now and then, but we don't want to stay there for long. We need to have the movement. We need to be able to go in and out of that. But really, if we stay there for long periods of time, we know that that can create some not only physical issues, but also some psychological issues, because slumped posture actually increases your cortisol, so it makes you more stressed. And it can also contribute to depression. And when people are depressed, they'll very often kind of go into themselves, and they'll find it quite difficult to come up and be open. But actually coming up and being open, which Louise mentioned a lot, coming up and being open increases your positive hormones and increases your ability to be able to deal with stress. So, and we have research on that, which is really important. So I would have worked a lot with people in terms of just alignment and looking at all the positive reasons for trying to gain and maintain better alignment. And I kind of felt, oh my God, the bra is really, really helping me to be able to stay tall, to be able to stay long. So I started to look into the whole area, and very quickly, and you know what it's like when you've been on a course, every patient that you have the next day has this, whatever it was you were on the course for. But literally, I would see every woman that was coming into me for treatment, I'd be pulling on her bra strap at the back going, you could fit a small child in there, that's not fitting you right. And they'd be coming in for an ankle sprain and I'd be pulling on their bra straps, but I didn't do it with men. So I did have a limit. But I just saw everywhere how unsupported women were and how much it was affecting their ability to maintain reasonable alignment. And so I started to think, you know, if I'm doing this, if I'm taping somebody up into this position, and I would always say when I was taping somebody, this is just like putting a bra on in reverse. And then I stopped and I started to think, actually, it's not a bra in reverse. It's actually putting a bra on that actually supports. So previous to that, my understanding of a bra was that it was there to cover me, to cover my nipples. That's all I ever thought about. I just put it on automatically. Nobody ever taught me how or why. you just put something on. And I bought what was in the shops, because that's what was in the shops. And every now and then I'd kind of go, oh, I'll get something a bit tighter, so I've got a bit of a cleavage. And that literally was about as much thought as I put into it. So walking out the door that day in 2010 was really very much a kind of a, oh my God, this is making me feel very different physically and psychologically. So I looked into it, looked into the numbers of women in the right bra. There is research showing 70 to 80% of women are in the wrong bra. There is anecdotal stuff out in the media. They normally bandy around the 70 to 80%. I have so far, in my experience, and I've been working with women now on this well over 6 years, nothing, nobody, not a single one, 100% so far. I have not yet met a single woman in the right bra, and I will include medical professionals, healthcare professionals, fitness professionals, everybody. So not a single woman. So the stats very much underestimate the reality. So, but why does it matter? Why does it matter? And it matters because breast weight has a massive impact on the way a woman feels physically and psychologically, and the way a woman moves, and also the way a woman looks. And the way that she looks affects how she feels psychologically. So that has a big impact as well. So I just started to go, okay, I want to know a little bit more about this whole area. And I looked into the research, and I looked into how do I tell people, how do I help people with being in the right bra? And I discovered very quickly that there is no standardization, that there are a number of different fitting techniques that are used, but the one that is the most often used is the oldest and the most inaccurate. It started back in the 40s when there was no elastic. It's still being used. We are 70, nearly 80, we're a lot of years on, and it's still being used. Hello, we have elastic. We don't need to be using a technique that underestimates, completely, it's not about underestimating. It is inaccurate, full stop. I'm going to say that. But unfortunately, women don't know this. So they don't know that they're putting a bra on that is not necessarily giving them what they could be getting from it. Now, it's almost worse if they go to somewhere and are fitted, measured with this inaccurate technique, because they've gone to the bother of looking after themselves and being measured or fitted, and then they don't know that what they've actually been told is inaccurate. So there's a huge area of education here. So that, and I will say there are places that do it correctly, but the advent of online, there's an awful lot of stuff online that is not accurate. So it's important to find somebody who fits with an accurate technique. And this is what I discovered very quickly when I started looking at my kind of patients, was I could very easily turn around to somebody and say, that bra's not right on you. And they'd go, okay, help me out here. And I go, okay. So this is what you should have, and this is what we're looking for, and this is what we're looking for. And they'd go away to a department store and they'd come back and it still wouldn't be right. So in the end, I decided I needed to be able to offer this as a service. So I've done that, and I'll mention that later. But the reason why I'm so passionate about this is it's like so many things that we educate women on as physios, and which is fundamental to everything you're doing. We don't know what we don't know. And so many women are unaware of the fact that with no knowledge of how to prevent it, they are doing themselves damage. Our skin can only take a certain load, and that is the only support we have in our bodies for our breasts. People talk about Cooper's ligaments. They're important in breastfeeding. They don't provide any structural support at all. So we have no structural support for our breasts. So if you take a bag of flour that's 1 kilogram and hold it in your hand here, where your elbow is just out of your body a little bit, hold it, wait for a while. It's going to not take very long before you're going to drop, because that weight is going to pull you down. And that's what we have. Our breasts are effectively stuck on the fronts of our chest wall. They're supported a little bit in that sense because they're on the chest wall, but only by our skin. And so whatever weight your breasts are, there is only one way they're going, and that is south, and actually southeast and southwest. And one of the things that drives me insane is people will say it's normal for our breasts to go south and southeast and southwest. Why is that normal? It's common, but it's not normal. Here we go again. How many times do we say that to our patients?
Yeah.
It's common. It doesn't mean that it's normal. We end up with our breasts going south and southwest because guess what's winning the battle? Gravity.
Gravity,
and unless we do something to withstand gravity, then of course they're going to go south and southeast because it's a weight. Same situation if we sit with our head forward, where's our head going to go? Forward and down. And that has all those impacts on our upper back and neck muscles. So unless we do something to withstand gravity, our breast weight is going to drag us forward. Now, so there's that as a principle, okay? And then people will say, oh, I've got nothing. I'm only an A cup, I've got nothing. I have yet to meet a genuine A cup, other than in puberty, right? Yeah. So talking about children as they go through puberty, when they start to bud, that's when they're going to be an A cup and perhaps go up to a B and go up. And we go up and we continue going up and we change. We change within life stages that we don't necessarily, again, know about. So we change during our menstrual cycle. Our breast volume, our breast weight increases just before your period, and then it decreases again just after your period. Our breast weight increases around perimenopause. We have no control over this. These are hormonal influences. We've seen again over the whole weekend, and if I had my way around again, I would do endocrinology because I just think hormones are so massively important. Maybe I still will, I have time. So hormones are going to create the puberty in the first place. Hormones create what's happening with our menstrual cycle. Hormones create our perimenopause, and we change during that period of time. And we will change with aging. There will be changes to our breasts with aging. None of those things we have control over. So we're fortunate if we get to perimenopause and if we get to the aging side of things, but those changes are happening without them being choices of ours, okay? Then what we've got is we've got situations that perhaps might be more of our choice, where there will be changes. So weight loss, our breast weight will change. Weight gain, our breast weight will change. Pregnancy, I'm sure everybody who's on here who has been pregnant or is pregnant is very aware of the fact that their breasts are changing. And breastfeeding, obviously there's changes there because of the milk and so on. So there are changes that are occurring during all of these time periods, which will affect the woman's physical health. And in pregnancy, one of the pictures that I had that, I'll maybe put it up on the social media feed at a later stage. So one of the things we know that happens in pregnancy is that as a woman's bump starts to get bigger, then there's a tendency to lean back, okay? So that tendency to lean back is to withstand gravity pulling down on the bump. But guess what else gravity is pulling down on? Breasts that are getting bigger. So now you've got breasts getting bigger and the bump getting bigger. Everything is taking us down. So what will a woman do to be able to function, to be able to get on with her life, particularly if she's got other children to have to deal with? We will lean back. And as we're leaning back, then we're creating changes within our musculoskeletal system. Now you could say, well, you're not going to be in that position for very long because eventually the baby's going to be born. But our body is very good at adapting to the positions we put it into. So a lot of postnatal women will present with their shoulders still back behind their pelvis. Now, they don't know this. When we point it out to them, they'll be like, oh my God, I never knew I did that. Does that explain some of my back pain? Does it explain? And last night I had another epiphany about pelvic girdle pain and this position. So I might talk to Sarah afterwards about this. But I do think there's an involvement, because any change that, anyway, let's not go there. So what else do I want to tell you? Oh yeah, in pregnancy, our rib cage expands in order to be able to deal with the growing baby. And as I don't know whether it was you said, the diaphragm changes, the position of the diaphragm goes up to be able to accommodate the growing baby, and the rib cage needs to be wider to be able to accommodate the growing baby. So you have rib flare that women will have during the time that they're pregnant, and for a while after, and while they're breastfeeding. Obviously there's hormonal changes, which may mean the rib flare remains for a while. So we have changes happening to our body that, again, we're not necessarily told about, but that's going to affect the bra that you wear.
Yeah.
And can you put the poll up now? Would that be?
Yeah, I think Lindsay's going to do. Which one did you want?
You probably noticed changes to your breasts while you were pregnant. Oh no, I've said that one. Forget that. I've given the answer to that.
Okay.
So number 2, what type of bra do you think is best for you to be wearing?
Do you know what? I think we can. I think the way I've put it in, we can only do all of them. I think it's. Okay. Are they all on there? I think they're all out and going. So actually, answer. So one's on. Go on to the next. I think people will have to scroll on to next.
Okay. Well, look, answer number 1 if you want to, but I've given you the answer, so take everything.
Yeah. If you can, yes, multiple choice. I did put multiple choice. Brilliant. They're coming in, so you can keep talking while they're filling that in, and then we can have a look what we think as well.
Yeah.
At the end.
What I'd like to know is what people's understanding is of what type of bra they should be wearing while they're pregnant, and also what type of bra they think they should be wearing while they're breastfeeding. And I'm going to then, once we've got the answers to that, the key thing with bras is that they will support our breast weight if we have them appropriately fitted. And for me, every woman should know how to fit herself. I don't think it's not rocket science. It shouldn't be a state secret. It shouldn't be something that you have to go into a shop and have somebody tell you, oh yes, that fits you. I want to know myself whether it fits me. I do now, and that's what I do with patients, is I educate patients into being able to go into any shop anywhere in the world and fit yourself. And like I said, it's not rocket science. And there's a lot of myths out there. There's a lot of myths about wired bras. And if I hear one more time or see another meme on, I can't wait to take my bra off. It's 6 o'clock. I must take my bra off. I can't. People are constantly pulling and poking. If you're doing that, your bra is not the right fit. If you are completely unaware of your bra, other than it may be giving you some feedback if you go into poorer kind of slumpy position, or if you're there for a while, then you get that feedback from the bra. If you've got racer back, as I do, which is kind of where it's tied across at the back, you get that information from the bra, and that's one of, for me, a huge use of it. So A, we get the right support, and B, we get a little bit of feedback to help us to be in that more stacked position, which will help our ribs to function better, to allow our lungs to function better, to allow our pelvic floor to function better, and so on. So what have we got on the poll?
Yeah, I will end it now. Actually, I think some people are still voting, but just I'm aware of time, so we'll put it in there. So can you see? We can share those results. So we know that the first one. If we can you scroll down?
Yeah,
if we can. I'm scrolling down, but I don't know if.
Okay.
Everyone can scroll themselves and check it on the other screen. So yes, I want to know. So tell us, what should you be wearing when you're pregnant?
Okay. So what I'm just going to just confirm there. Is, so a couple of people have said it doesn't matter. A couple of people have said they don't know. But the vast majority of people are saying non-wired for both situations. So let's bust that myth. Excuse the pun. There is no research. There is no evidence telling us that you have to be in a non-wired bra during either pregnancy or during breastfeeding. Okay. Okay, I'm ready for everybody to go, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh, that's not right. But there is no evidence, okay? We have no research. All that has happened is people have been told that they should wear non-wired bras. If you have, I'm trying not to look at the chat because it could go mad. If you have your optimal fit, your wire in your bra is on your rib cage. It is not on breast tissue. It is not poking in onto soft, sensitive tissue. And if your bra is not fit correctly, it will poke in onto sensitive breast tissue. And that's why you want to take the thing off at the end of the day. That's where you've got the bra burning, wanting to be happening. Okay? If your bra is correctly fitted, optimally fitted for you, and you know this, you will have the wire behind your breast tissue, so it is not going to affect the breast at all. Now, absolutely correct that your breasts are going to get bigger as you are pregnant, and they're going to get bigger and smaller while you're breastfeeding. So you might put a bra on one morning and go, oh gosh, that wire is poking in now. So guess what? You take that bra off, and you might then have to buy a bigger bra. And women know during pregnancy that they're going to have, you know, different size bras. Where the non-wired is useful, and I'm not against non-wired bras at all, you will get more support from a wired bra if it's optimally fitted. But where a non-wired bra is useful is that because you don't have a wire there, you don't need to necessarily change the bra as often because you're not worried about the wire pressing on breast tissue. What you compromise in that is there will be a little bit less support, and your shape is a little bit different. In a non-wired bra, you're going to be flatter because your breast tissue is going to stay underneath your arms, which is kind of that more east or west. But you can get a really, really good fitting non-wired bra. It'll bring you forward. It'll give you that support. It'll stop gravity from being in charge. So that can still work really well. But you will have a little bit more breast tissue underneath your arm, because the point of the wire is to keep the breast tissue in front. So it changes the shape a little bit. So it changes the support, it changes the shape, but you can still get really good support from it. But what I want to do today is I want to really bust the myth of it has to be non-wired.
Yeah, that's
great. It doesn't have to be. What you need to have is awareness of your optimal fit, and then you make the choice. And here we are back again to empowering women to be able to make their own choice.
That's brilliant. I wish I'd known, because I was so pleased to put a wired bra on once I was allowed to, once I stopped breastfeeding. I was like, thank goodness, I'm so much more comfortable. Do you know, this is a question from my perspective, I'm just thinking of breastfeeding bras. Are there breastfeeding bras with wires in?
Yes. Yes.
Oh, that might change the world for some people out there.
There are. And again, you know, I mean, people will say to me, you know, why do I need it? Your breasts are heavier, so the more support you can get for your breasts, the better. But it might be that a wired bra doesn't work for you, and if that's the case, then yes, non-wired. But you are making that choice. You're not having somebody, and I you know, no disrespect to anybody who has given this information to women in the past, but I've asked midwives, I've asked lactation consultants, I've asked women's health physios, what do you say to women? Oh, I always tell them to wear a non-wired bra. Why? Oh, because that's what everybody tells everybody.
Yeah.
I rest my case, Your Honour.
Yeah, exactly. That's great. That's brilliant. And I'm aware of time. There's a couple of questions. Do you mind if I pop them up? I don't know. I haven't looked at them.
Question away.
If you've been wearing an ill-fitting bra for many years, is it possible to somewhat reverse the droopy boob effect by starting to wear a better fitting bra?
Reverse it. Do you know what? I'm going to say technically reverse it, no, because basically what happens when we go south, it's called ptosis, and the skin basically can't deal with the weight anymore. The skin can only sustain 60% of its load before it starts to stretch, and then once it's stretched and it doesn't necessarily come back. However, I only had my epiphany in my 40s, and I'm in my mid-50s now, and definitely when I take my bra off, I'm definitely not feeling as heavy in the weight. So I do feel like I have maybe got a little bit of better support in my skin than I had before. But the key thing is, what you're not allowing to happen is the continued dragging downwards. And Hooke's law says the more you pull down, the more things are going to go down, and the more things are going to stretch. So yes is the answer, in that you can stop the rot. That's a terrible thing to say, but you can stop it from getting worse.
Yeah,
for sure.
That's great. That's good. And where can we get properly fitted or good bras from? And I suppose on the back of that, I'm asking you, how do you test yourself to check that you've got it right?
So what I do is, because I feel this is something that's really, really important from the point of view of the effect it can have on somebody's posture, is that I've set up a system called posture fitting, which people can look at on the website, and I've established a training program for physios. So for healthcare professionals first, to raise awareness, that's called Gals Against Gravity, so that people, midwives, doctors, fitness professionals, anybody involved in working with women can come onto the workshop and learn more about the impact of breast weight, what it does to us that we don't realize it's doing. And the big thing that I've forgotten to say, oh my God, this is really important, how did I forget this, is the effect it has on women's movement. So there are a lot of women who are not active, will not exercise because their breast movement is so great. Now, all of our breasts move, and these stats on, I haven't got time for this, but the stats on how much we move we move a lot. Yeah. And we're moving that breast weight, and it can be uncomfortable. It can give people pain. The most appropriate treatment for breast pain in exercise is appropriate breast support. The best thing to decrease boob droop is appropriate breast support. So the bra is really, really important. What was the question you asked me? Oh yeah, so I do it in the context of posture. So if I can get somebody into a better posture, their breast position changes. They will be able to hold themselves a little bit better, but they need those muscles back there to be strong to help them. We then use the bra to reinforce that. So you've got two things improving your breast position. You've got